Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a mind-expanding collision of deep science and philosophy. We're talking about a story that bridges the microscopic building blocks of life with, well, the absolute grandest questions of human existence. Seriously, think about it. What actually happens when you strip human biology down to its most fundamental microscopic code? Does it just reduce us to cold mechanical chance? Or does it reveal something entirely different? We're going to unpack the fascinating journey of a scientist who looked closer at the mechanics of human life than almost anyone else in history. 3.2 billion. Now, what's absolutely wild about this immense number is that it represents the exact amount of letters mapped in human DNA by the Human Genome Project. 3.2 billion. Let's put that scale into perspective for a second. If you were to just sit down and read those letters out loud at a normal pace, it would take you nearly a century to finish. A century. It is a staggering, almost incomprehensible volume of information packed right into the blueprint of human life. So it's not just a number, right? It's a vast, intricate code dictating the biological reality of every single one of us. So, Part 1, Mapping the Human Genome. This colossal effort was directed by Dr. Francis Collins. He was the guy at the helm of the initiative that successfully mapped all 3.2 billion of those DNA letters. And because of this incredible achievement, he eventually took on one of the world's most senior scientific posts, serving as the director of the National Institutes of Health. So we are talking about someone operating at the absolute pinnacle of global empirical science. His entire world was rooted in hard data, daily observation, microscopic structures, and, the rigorous scientific method. Now, you might logically expect that uncovering the raw mechanical chemistry of human biology would convince a top-tier scientist that everything is just entirely random, right? I mean, when you spend your entire life looking at cells, molecules, and chemical bonds, it's a pretty common assumption that you'd walk away viewing the universe as just a chaotic sequence of random chemical reactions. We often assume that the deeper you go into the hard mechanics, the less room there is for any higher meaning.
Which brings us to Part 2, the language of God.
But here is the real plot twist. When the Human Genome Project finished, Collins actually didn't walk away more convinced of a random universe. No way. Instead, he wrote a book called The Language of God. Based on his empirical research, he concluded that those 3.2 billion DNA letters were literally exactly that, a profound language. He explained that the deeper he went into DNA, analyzing that staggering sequence of information, the more he felt like he was reading the letters of God's language. He looked at the fundamental chemistry of life and saw clear syntax, structure, and communication.
And this brilliantly illustrates his core belief. Empirical science and deep faith are completely complementary. This is a huge paradigm shift. They aren't competitors fighting for the same space in our minds. Actually, scratch that. It's more like they are truths that complete one another. Science explains the how, the intricate mechanics of those 3.2 billion letters, while faith explores the why behind the language itself.
Part 3, Bridging Science and Faith. Now, decades before anyone had ever even seen a physical DNA molecule through a microscope, an Islamic scholar and theologian named Nursi articulated this exact same concept way back in 1922. Without the benefit of modern genetic mapping, sequencing technology, or, a massive team of global scientists, Nursi proposed that every single cell bears witness to a glorious maker. He saw through the lens of profound philosophical reflection exactly what Francis Collins would later see in the 2000s through the lens of cutting-edge genomics. Just think about this incredible parallel for a second. In 1922, philosophy dictates that the cell is a witness to a creator. Fast forward to the 2000s, and Collins spends 13 grueling years staring directly at the actual physical letters of life. Through entirely different methods, Collins' rigorous empirical science arrived at the exact same destination that Nursi reached through deep theological reflection. 13 years of mapping physical letters revealed a structured language. It completely confirmed the philosophical idea that the cell is far more than just random biological static. So, what should you take away from all this? The core takeaway from these thinkers is a really powerful shift in perspective. For them, following science all the way down to its very foundation, literally down to the microscopic letters that build our bodies, didn't lead away from faith, but directly towards it. It suggests that for some, the ultimate scientific pursuit doesn't erase wonder, it actually magnifies it. I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder today. If looking deeper into the empirical science of our cells reveals an incredibly complex 3.2 billion letter language, who exactly is the author? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.